Hello, Craftin' buddies. It's Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Craftin', coming to you at 11. Oh, it just turned to 11:51 p.m. on August 27th. Not quite midnight here in Wisconsin. I just couldn't decide what I wanted to try to do tonight. So we're on the seventh day, or on the seventh day from today. Soon to be the sixth day, the new mini catalog gets released. And I thought I had one handy here so I could show you the cover, because that's all I can show you. Let me move some of my goodies here. Hang on, here I come. Getting my iPad set up too. So this is the mini catalog that's going to release on September 3rd. So we're looking at Wednesday next week. We get to look at a whole bunch of new goodies. Tonight, I am going to play with some of those products. Now, I have kind of lost track as far as what is online exclusive and what's in the catalog. So let me just do a quickie look. So this is Elegant Pine Snowflakes. And I will pull this out of here. This kind of got buried in my crafting space. I knew I had some more Christmas type things from my pre-order, but things get shuffled around sometimes, and they're sometimes hard to find. So here's the A side. I really like this, and I'm thinking I might use like an embroidery hoop and make just kind of a basic Christmas ornament sort of thing. And here's the B side. And this is some of what I'll be using tonight. So this is the A side. And since I cut it up, here's the B side. This one's really pretty too. A side and the B side. And this is all little snowflakes, if you can see that. This is really pretty, even though it's really dark. I think it'll make some gorgeous projects. And I love this side too. So all these feathery snowflakes I think are so pretty. The pine cones. Now there are some dies, and I'm thinking the pine cone die, which is in here somewhere. Huh. I could have cut those out with my die instead of just using pecan pie. All right, so that's the A side and the B side. I think these are supposed to be like frosty looking pages. And, well, this is another dark page. So that's the A side and the B side. So this is like snowflakes made out of pine boughs. And then this is the back side, again, kind of feathery snowflakes made out of pine needles. So that's what I'm going to work with tonight. And I had so many ideas going through my head. Demonstrators had a craft along tonight online with 4 of our Stampin' Up! Demonstrator development managers. So I was doing that this evening. And I just had so many ideas going through my head what I could have done tonight. If you're familiar with One Sheet Wonders, there's one in the new catalog. And I think I'll be featuring that maybe on the day the catalog releases. So one day next week I will do that. And then this is in the new catalog. So I think the paper is an online exclusive, but this branching out bundle, so there are stamps and dies. So let me get some of my pieces here, because I did start cutting some of these things out ahead of time to try to save time so that I'm not up half the night. And then I have a pine cone stuck in here. Sometimes I can get it to bounce out. There we go. So these dies are pretty fun, and there's a little piece stuck in there too. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So these little label dies are really cool. They're stitched. They've got the corners concave, so I think those are really pretty. And then there's this like long needled pine, the pine cone, and then like some holly. I don't know where all these were supposed to go there. Maybe that goes there. So I thought what I would try to do is, I am working with Pretty Peacock. We've been working with that for a couple of projects now. I did some projects with that last night. And the night before, I guess. The boxes that I did a couple of nights ago were made with the Pretty Peacock as well. So what I did was I took the largest die here for the label, and I cut out 2 with my Pretty Peacock. And then I didn't take the next one down, but the third one in. And I was going to make a layer. Well, the way I used the die, this was the side that got cut. I really wanted this side, and it probably wouldn't matter, but it's got the perforated stitched edging, so I'm going to set those aside. I'll use those for a different project. So I went ahead and cut some new pieces because I really liked this side. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down right away, and I just want them centered. And I'm making kind of like, what's in my head is just a quick and easy kind of shopping bag kind of box. We'll see how it turns out. And I like using the Tombow liquid glue because then I can shift it around a little bit if I'm not quite straight. Dana, welcome. I am doing hopefully what will be just a very simple box tonight, or a bag, using the branching out bundle and some new paper that I already forgot what it's called. Elegant Pine Snowflakes. So if you're just coming in, if you didn't see me preview those, just go back and watch the replay. And I did show all the sides of that paper. They're really quite pretty. And I started looking through the catalog again, which is sometimes a mistake because I added some things to my shopping cart, of course. That beautiful red ribbon that I used on a project a few days ago, I discovered I hadn't ordered that. And I had just a little sample from a demonstrator event that I went to in July. I just need a little more glue on here. So I think that's, might be a little bit crooked. And it might be on there pretty good. It's on there pretty good. I might have shifted it a little bit. So these are going to be the sides of our bag. Okay. And what I did was I took the width of this part, which is about 2.5 inches. And I added an inch for each side. So I did 4.5. Let me make sure. Yep, I did 4.5. And then I just used the whole 11-inch length of the cardstock because this is about 5 inches. So I may have to trim a little bit off the tops. So I scored at 1" on each side. So I've got 4.5 by 11, scored at 1", scored at 5, scored at 5. All right. So when we lay this up here, it's going to be just a little tall. So I'm going to just take about 1/8 inch off of there with my trimmer on each side. So my measurement, I'll adjust my measurement here. So instead of 4.5 by 11, we should be looking at 4.5 by 10 3/4, I think. Let's see if this lines up now. Yep, that'll be good. All right, so let's just see. So we've got 4.5 by 10 3/4. All right. So then on each of these edges here, I'm going to go ahead and just snip these corners. Well, not the corners, but the score lines. And I love these snips because when they're nice and sharp, they get you right to the edge without having any raised edges. And unfortunately, the manufacturer that Stampin' Up! Got them from no longer is making them for Stampin' Up! I don't know if they're not making them at all or what the deal is. So the snips are gone. I'm hoping Stampin' Up! Finds another vendor that can produce a product that meets the quality standards. I mean, I have some snips, they'll last me for a while, but I might want more. And I'm just going to miter these edges in a little bit here. All right. Get rid of those scraps. So when I do my little boxes, I like to have one side come in, my flaps go on the outside of that box, and then the other flaps go on the outside of those. That way, when things slide in, they don't get caught on those little feet, right? So if we put these on the inside, if you're sliding in, let's say you're gonna slide in like a package of Kleenex or something, because a Kleenex would probably fit in there. It might be a little short. You could put a filler piece or something in the bottom. But depending on what you want to put in there, you know, if it's snug, you don't want it to get hung up on those. All right. So let's go ahead and put some tear and tape on these, because then you'll be able to see really well what I'm talking about. So these are going to go on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and put some tear tape right along these edges. And I don't know if you noticed, last night or the night before, I was doing some tear tape, and I like to put the roll of tape just around my fingers on my non-dominant hand, because I'm left-handed. And that way I can kind of control the feed, but it also gives me my second hand to steer that tape where I want it to be. Who else does that? Who else puts the roll on their hand? All right. So that just went over a little bit. We'll just snip that off. And now this one is going to come up and be on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little piece of tear tape there and tear tape there. Now, if you watched my the boxes that I did for the Milano cookies, this is very similar to how I did that. So these are going on the inside first, so that tear tape is on the outside. These are going next, and then these next. So these will have tear tape on the inside. So what have you been up to, Dana? Anything exciting? This is going to be kind of a short night because I've only got one project prepped enough to do anything with. So with my tear tape, I like to burnish it on the original side. For one, it helps me get the backing paper off easily because mainly it's adhering to whatever I have stuck it onto much better than if I just laid it on there and finger pressed it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my take your pick tool to open these, or release these rather. All right, now I can flip this over, but I want to make sure these are in and not going to stick to my glass mat. Then I'll get these done. And I'm going to leave these other ones on for just a minute here because I want to just push this, because I didn't miter these ends, I only mitered the inside edge. I want to just make sure I push that all the way there and then stick the tab up, because that's how my box is going to stay squared. All right, and then I can go ahead and take these off. And we'll nestle this flush into that score line, and that's going to keep that side square. And then I usually like to just reach in with whatever tool is handy, like this one I happen to have. My take your pick tool, and it's longer than a bone folder, so it works pretty well. And then that side we'll just have tucked into that fold. And we'll press that down. So I know a lot of people are they shy away from boxes because they don't like to do the math to figure it out. But if you keep your boxes pretty simple, like this one is just an inch, it's going to be narrow because I wanted to keep it to that 11 inch. Otherwise I would have had to put two pieces together. So if I wanted this to be more open and do like 2 inches, that means this side would have to be 2 inches as well, which would have meant that these would have been shorter. All right. So you just have to kind of figure out what piece you're adding them onto, and you figure this is 5 inches. So I need 2 of those, so that's 10. And 1 inch here. Hello, Fifi. I just have one little simple project today. We're doing an easy little box. So what I was saying is we've got the 5 inches here, an inch here, and 5 inches here. So that's my 11 for the full length of the designer series paper. All right. So this is what I started with. And I started with 4.5. So this one's only 4 now, and I need 2.5. So if I was going to make another box, it would be narrower. So it wouldn't be as thick here because I need more width here. So if you're not comfortable making boxes, just put a little bit of thought into it. And sometimes all I have to do is, okay, I've got 5 here, an inch, and 5 here, and the math isn't so bad. Hello, Nicole. All right, so Perth, are you at, let me guess the time here. Are you at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning or 10? I have forgotten. I don't remember how far ahead of us you are, but welcome. All right, so instead of putting my glue on the die cut piece, I'm going to go ahead and put it on here because this is my narrower piece. That kind of is a no-brainer unless you're tired and not thinking, which sometimes happens. Oh, it's 1 in the afternoon for you. Okay, so you're 13 hours ahead because it's just after midnight for us. So I'm putting that on there, and I can use these corners to line up the corners on my little box sleeve. Okay. And then this side will be the same thing. Make sure my tear and tape is stuck. And I could decorate the sides of the box. Typically I don't, because most people aren't going to notice that when it's this narrow. If I have a box that's got more open space to it, then I'll decorate the sides. But this one is so narrow, I don't think we'll need it. But if you ladies think it needs it, I'll add it. All right, so we'll line those up. Now, when I do a box like this where I'm using die cuts to make the design, I like to make sure that the bottom of the die cut lines up with the bottom of the box. Yeah, and I'm a night owl. My husband doesn't necessarily care for the fact that I'm a night owl, but my mother was a night owl, I'm a night owl, and it doesn't matter how tired I seem to get in the evening. It's like somewhere around 10 o'clock, usually the energy button goes on. And then I can start getting creative. So there's our little, just a little box. Now we could put some candies in here. We could put a packet of Kleenex, because the ones that we have are, I should probably say tissue rather than the name brand. I don't think I have any in here, but our tissue boxes are about, our little individual purse packs are kind of narrow like that. So the other thing that I want to do then is I want to make a label to put a greeting on here. So from our family to yours maybe, or wishing you a day filled with happy moments. These aren't necessarily Christmas themed. Thinking of you brings joy to my heart. Sent with lots of love. Even to a very special someone. I don't know. What do you think we should use? Because what I want to do then is I want to use one of these dies to not personalize it, but specialize it, because these sentiments, while these are only 80% on here, they're still not real big. So, you know, I will have a lot of white spots or white space on a die. So what I want to do is use the die to trim it down. So let's do this one. Wishing you a day filled with happy moments or something. Yes, with many happy moments. Let's see how that looks. All right, and I have my pretty peacock here. And I do tend to get, to your point, Nicole, I do tend to get a little bit more creative when all of the noise stops, because right now, everything's quiet. The TV's off. Our bedrooms are on the upper floor and I'm on the main floor at one end of the house, and the bedroom is on the other end of the house upstairs. Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous. I have not used the stamp set yet, so it's new to me and new to you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this through with my little Betsy. Yes, Nicole is from Perth. We have an international group here. So we get the night owls in the United States and the daytimers around the world. I did not do that intentionally. It's just been a byproduct of being a night owl. So let's go ahead and try to center that a little bit. And I'm going to secure this with a little bit of washi tape so it doesn't shift on me. And this is washi tape I've used for other projects, so it's not super sticky. All right, let's just feed this through. Fifi, I had no idea you were an international woman like that. That's kind of cool. Small world, hey? All right, so let's take that off. This is garbage, of course. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this die and I'm going to move it up. And I'm going to let these little indentations, the stitched part, I'm going to try to catch those in this other layer. So I've got this side. This side is caught in there, so that's good. And let's see if I can get this one to line up. That might be that right there. And it may not really matter because the die on top is going to kind of recut that edge anyway. So let's just see how it looks. And my great-grandfather was a shipbuilder, but he was from Sweden, not Australia. All right. Let's see how that turned out. Did you notice I don't have a whole lot of debris here tonight? That's because it's all over there on my crafting table. Pretty fancy that your boyfriend's dad was a ship captain. I think that's pretty cool. All right, so I think that'll look cute on there. And can you see a little bit of the die? There's a little a little notch right there from the stitching, but it doesn't look out of place. The other ones matched up really well, so it ran aground. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Yeah, I bet that kind of set his career back a little bit, huh? That's a shame. I don't know what the HMAS stands for, but I'm familiar with Adelaide. All right, so let's get rid of that piece there, that ink. Now, what I want to do is kind of dress this up a little bit. So we've got some pine cones here. We've got some pine boughs. And I originally had thought from my Pretty Peacock that Pool Party would be a nice choice, and there is Pool Party in here. Her Majesty's, oh, okay, yeah, that would make sense. Her Majesty's Australian. Nicole, you'll have to tell us. All right, so anyway, I like that there's Pool Party in here and it coordinates, but they don't stand out very much. You can't hardly see them. So I thought I would do the Old Olive instead, because those you can actually see. So if we do a little bit of this, we could probably just put them on the branch. Hello, Tanya. Thank you, Fifi. I missed that Tanya was here. I was trying to catch up with some of the other comments. So we could put that on there. And then I've got a couple of the pine cones. I did 3 of them so that I could do like a little cluster. And I made some little berries, die cut those. And actually, this one I have to kind of bury because when I cut it out, I didn't realize that it was off my cutting plate. So there's that. And I did these thinking I could kind of have them as a handle. But I don't know that that's going to work. So let me put all these little embellishment pieces here, because I want to put those all on the label, and then I'm going to set the label up so it's off the little bag here. And I'm going to move these out of the way because I'm not going to use those on this project. All right, so let's put our little pine boughs on here. I don't think it'll really matter which way I cant that. All right. And we'll put a little bit more on here for this. I just have to tuck those a little bit. Oops. I'm gonna have to put some more tear and tape or find, there we go. Well, this you know, you could kind of make a coordinating card with this. And if you put these little pieces, Tanya, on the back of your label, whatever your sentiment is, then you lift that up, there's the center of your card. Kind of cute. Okay, so let's just use a little bit of glue for our little pine cones. And these pine cones, I realized after the fact that I could have cut them from designer series paper with the die. I forgot that there was pine cones on this pretty paper. I think I'm going to put these both down here. Does that mean you skip school too, Nicole? That must be what my mother did too when my dad was in the service. Those guys in uniform can catch your eye, right? All right, so let's put a bunch of dimensionals on here. And in fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and use my strips here. So I've got 1, 2, 3. So this one I'll cut in half. So what happened to them, Fifi? Imagine if they held him responsible, maybe he lost rank. All right. I'm going to let all those edges loose. Yeah, I figured he was probably demoted. If he was the commander or the captain. So that's pretty fun. Let's find some bling to put on here. I think maybe I'll use rhinestones and I'm going to get my cherry cobbler alcohol blends. And we're going to color a few of these. I want the smaller ones and I only have big ones here. And I think I'm going to cluster them like the berries here. So let's color some of these. Well, it's good that you have fond memories. So, Nicole, you only skipped school if an assignment was due and you hadn't finished it, but you spent the day actually working on it. I skipped school twice in my life. The first time I was in 4th grade. I still remember my teacher's name, and I still remember the girl's name that I skipped school with. We went to school in the morning, and this friend, the term that I'll use loosely because she got me in trouble, she decided after lunch we should just skip out. So I'm like, okay, why not? You know, no big deal. And I was such a rule follower. She was a bad influence, but I went along with it because, you know, I wanted to be one of the cool kids. So we ended up going to a laundromat that was not far from her house. So we skipped school in the afternoon and we went to this laundromat. The school called her family. The school called my family. My dad was not happy. And her brother found us at the laundromat because apparently that's where she had gone many other times. I think I'm going to do one more cluster. I really like those. He knew right where to find us. So we went back to school and I was in trouble, big trouble. And I had no privileges for, it seemed like a month. You know, when you're in 4th grade, a couple of days seems like forever, I suppose, but it seemed like a month. And then I decided that I wouldn't do that again until my senior year in high school. So my last year. And around here, they have a tradition of senior skip day. And so I asked my parents for permission to skip that day. And I told them what the tradition was, so they gave me permission. So those are the 2 times I skipped school. Isn't that cute? Can you see the shimmer on the berries there? Yep, senior skip day. I don't know if they even still do that. I don't remember my kids having senior skip day, but who knows? I don't remember. That was a while ago. They've been out of school for quite some time. All right, so now I have to decide what else. I don't think these are going to work for any kind of handle because they're going to be pretty fragile. If I try to put them on here, they're going to rip with whatever I put in there. So I'm thinking ribbon would probably be best. And this green and gold, mossy meadow and gold, I think that'll work. Don't you think? I think that'll work. So we could do it like here, and then one on the other side and have it like a little purse handle. Or I could just put it here. And had I planned ahead, this ribbon is really gorgeous. If I had planned ahead, I could have put the ribbon, I probably still could. I can put the ribbon in here because I didn't put my tear tape. I I didn't put my tear tape in the middle, I just put it on the edges. So let's use our little spatula here and see if I can stretch this just a little bit. Let me put some tear tape on this and just see if I can scooch it in there maybe. If I can find the end. Let's just put a little bit on here. We'll just try to push that in there and see if it'll hold. Glue dots would probably work now that I've already committed to the tear tape. Oops. We'll see how this works. It might not work. So I put the sticky side on my spatula, pushing it in, and then with any luck, nope. All right, let's try this again. The next box I make, I will plan ahead. So we'll just try to tuck this in, because I think putting it in between the layers is going to look the nicest. And part of the problem is the tear tape is sticking to the layer as I want to put it in there. Oh well, we'll get it. We'll get it. There. Alright, so now I have a little bit more tear tape on this side than I needed, but I can peel that down and tear it off, so that'll be fine. There we go. And then let's just figure out how long we want this. Maybe about like so. Ribbon scissors, there they are. That's funny that your daughter would play you each to get out of what she didn't want to do. Kids can be so smart sometimes, right? Until they're not. Not thinking they're going to get found out. Alright. So I think what I'm going to do is, we'll see this one if I put it around both sides of the ribbon. It'll make it a stronger hold. I wonder if we twist it. This could be like a little Christmas ornament for a Christmas tree. What do you think of it twisted? What do you think of that? I think we'll try that. Hopefully it won't get weird looking. All right, we'll just peel this apart a little bit. And pop this in here. Hopefully my head's not getting in the frame. There we go. I'm getting it. So if you do a box like this, yeah, put your ribbon in before you get it all sealed up. Before you decorate it all, I'll just put a little bit more here. Since I peeled it a little bit. I didn't actually have the tear tape all the way up to the edge, so it was all right. I think I'm, whoops. I think I might have accidentally let some of the twist out. No, there we go. That's kind of cute. That was something I hadn't really planned for, but you know, that would make probably just a cute little decoration. You could put a gift card with some tissue in there for somebody. You could put more of the elements on the back. You know, if I was to cut out more of the bough, the pine branches and the pine cones, I think I'll do that. I'll just add a little cluster on the other side. And I will use these little berry branches for something else. Although I could probably use part of them for the cluster back here. You know, I'll just snip them up. So that'll be a plan. All right. That's it. That's all I'm doing for tonight. It's not quite 12:30. Well, it's 12:36, 37. Yeah, I really like the stamps actually. Because they've got some really nice little sentiments there that aren't just wintry or Christmassy. So I thought that was something that would be pretty versatile. All right. That's all I've got for you ladies. Yeah, I know. So what happens is if I get just the dies for something, because I'm thinking, oh, I won't use that stamp set, invariably I will find that I need the stamp set. And then I could have saved money if I would have just bought the bundle to start with. So yeah, I usually just buy the whole set now. All right, well, you ladies have a good night or enjoy the rest of your day wherever your clock takes you. And I appreciate you popping in and crafting with me even for this little short little item here. But you know, I got these little, you could put a lot of little things in there. Little trinkets, little pens. These are some little summary notepads I found. So, okay. Oh, thank you, Fifi. Yeah, I appreciate the thumbs up. And if you have somebody who you think might enjoy joining us, feel free to share. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. It helps me share what I enjoy doing with even more. And I think it's fun to collaborate, you know. You have somebody else's eyes looking at things and we can make them better as we go. So, looks like my camera's kind of crooked and I'm just a mess a little bit here, huh? But anyway, I will see you next time, which will be probably in about 23 hours or so. Until then, happy crafting. Thanks for all the hearts, you guys.